What's going on, YouTube? RDAP Dan here, and I apologize for the technical difficulties today. We had some issues with the live streaming software that we use over here. Nonetheless, we have Mike G with us. This is the third take on this. This is the first time I've done a live video and had to do 3 different takes on a live video. How do you do multiple takes on a live video? Only with RDAP Dan. Mike, if you got that playing in the background, turn that volume down so it doesn't...
No, I just turned it down. I didn't realize the volume was up.
No problem. So, Mike, welcome. How are you doing today, my man?
I'm doing good, man. How about yourself?
I'm doing good now that we got this thing kicking off here. Got my coffee going. Mike's got the chrome vending on the shirt, as you guys can see. So, Mike, tell us a little bit about your journey kind of through the federal prison system, because of those of you that are reading this right now, you see that Mike did a 17-year stretch. This wasn't 17 years in and out of the prison system. This was a bid for 17 years. And he's going to explain that to us in just a moment. And just before we jump into that, make sure if you haven't already subscribed, you go ahead and take a quick moment, subscribe to our channel, tap the notification. Don't forget to text the word YouTube to 76626. Keep a lookout for upcoming videos as we got coming this Monday. As you can see right here, we've got... scratch that. Well, Monday we got all kinds of crazy stuff coming up next week, which we'll talk about at the end of the video. But Mike, tell us a little bit about how you ended up doing a 17-year prison bid, and how old were you when this all kind of started?
Hold on, give me 1 second. Now I'm dropping everything.
But we can hear you real good, though. That's good.
Okay, give me 1 second. Now my stuff's dropping everywhere.
Mike broke his computer.
Okay.
All right, so tell us your story, Mike. Tell us how you ended up getting into the federal prison system and how you ended up eventually at Coleman Low, where you finished your time.
Well, I started out, I always been in trouble when I was young, getting into all type of stuff and going to juvenile detention, doing a lot of stupid things. And I ended up going to prison. I went to the state first for some state charges, and I paid a lawyer, and he told me he was going to take care of things. He got me a deal that was for a shorter amount of time, and I felt like I was going to be getting out pretty soon. I was supposed to get out in October of '02, and I had about 4 months to go home, and I was around June. The federal marshals came and picked me up and took me to the federal facility over in Tallahassee, and they tacked on another 15 years. They gave me another indictment and ran me up, and I went to Coleman, and I did about over 11 years at the medium. And when I stayed in the building for about a year, and then I went over to the medium for a little over 11 years, and then I did my last 7 months at the low. That's when you saw me there. I was getting ready to leave, and they ended up giving me 10 and a half months in the halfway house. I went to the low really because at the medium they were only giving out a maximum of 6 months halfway house. So I tried to do everything that I could to get over to the low, because I heard they were giving the full year there. And after doing all that time, I was just ready to get out of there, man. So I went to my case manager, and because of all the things that I did when I was there, I taught a nutrition class in the education department for about 10 years. I taught a French class, which I also learned in prison. I worked on the rec yard. I was one of the head workers. I was the head of the recreation department as far as classes go. I taught workout classes, ab class, core class, calisthenics class, jump rope class, things like that. So I had participated in a lot of things, and my case manager actually helped me to get over to the low. He was trying to, I needed, I believe, 16 points or whatever it is to get to the low. And I was at 17 or 18, and he dropped my points for all type of various things that you can get them dropped for. And I still was half a point too high. I was like 16 and a half or whatever. I don't remember exactly what the standards are, but I know I was half a point too high. But he sent me over there anyway because I did a lot of positive things. Well, so
how did you, what charges did you end up catching that brought you in to the low. And I apologize, guys. We're having some Skype issues right now, so we can hear him just fine. We're just going to lose the video intermittently. Mike, what were the charges that you ended up? Why did you receive a 17-year prison sentence?
Well, actually, I had possession of firearm by convicted felon and possession of stolen firearms. And it was 3 charges on each one. They gave me 2 charges on 3 different guns. There was a lot more to it than that, but that's like what the charges ended up being. And because I didn't cooperate and end up giving some names to figure some things out, they ended up kind of slamming me a little harder. I believe it was one of the head detectives in particular. He just was kind of out to screw me over. So.
And you were 18 at this point.
Yeah.
When you found out you were receiving such a lengthy sentence, what was going through your mind at 18 years old, and what was going through your family's mind?
I went to state prison first, and then I didn't get indicted until I had turned 22 in the federal building, because I was in the federal building for 10 and a half months. So I had already been in the state prison for a while.
So when you were in state prison, you didn't know that you were going to be catching a federal indictment. You're under the impression you're going to be going home pretty soon.
Yeah, so it kind of hit me hard.
How close to your release of your state prison were you when you got the indictment for the federal side?
About 4 months. I was supposed to go home October 2nd, and they picked me up like June 21st, something like that.
No notice, nothing? You just got a call over the speaker, and that was it? They're picking you up?
Yep. It was on a Friday, and I had a visit coming the next day on a Saturday. So, my mother was actually coming to see me, and she went all the way there. They didn't give her any information. I found out later. She didn't know where I was at, what happened. They wouldn't let me get a phone call when I got to the federal building. So, I know that she was really going through it. And they were telling me what my charges carry, that the possession of the firearm by convicted felon carries a maximum of life. So I didn't know what I was facing. It was just a hard blow to me.
Wow. I can't even imagine what that. I used to hear stories like that all the time with guys getting ready to get out, and then all of a sudden, last minute, a new indictment came knocking on the door, and it kind of restarted the whole process. So going into the prison system, 18 years old, early 20s, then you caught a 17-year prison sentence. Going through Coleman, at what point did you decide that not only did you not want to do anything that was going to bring you back to prison once you got released, but at what point in your prison journey did you decide to start properly planning to your exit strategy for what you were going to do after prison? How long did it take you to realize that this wasn't the life that you wanted to live once you were finished?
I'm going to tell you really what I remember exactly when it hit me. I was making the homemade wine and drinking and things like that, passing my time. I just felt like my date was forever away. And every day I wake up, it didn't feel like I was getting any closer. So, I'm smoking the marijuana, I'm drinking. I always liked to work out and stuff, but it wasn't consistent. It was just here and there. But I remember I got a dirty urinalysis, and I ended up going to the hole. This is when I was at Coleman Medium. And this was around the end of 2005. And I had just actually ordered a personal trainer's course. I ordered the ISSA because I had seen a lot of different people getting their personal trainer certifications. And I felt like I always enjoyed it, that I wanted to get it as well. So I had ordered mine, and it came to me when I was in confinement. So I sat down, I started studying that book. I was back there for about 60 days, and it's about an 800-page book. I read it twice, wrote all my essays, completed the whole course. It's a 2-year course. I did it in 2 months. And when I got out, I sent it out. And I believe I got a 95 on it. And I got an A, but I was actually mad that I didn't get 100. All the effort that I had put into it, So at that point right there, that's when I felt like I wanted to start focusing on something to get ahead.
Well, let's explain to people real quick. So you're in prison, you're in the hole, you're in solitary confinement, and you've decided that you wanted to become a personal trainer. So explain to people, when you're in prison, you can actually become a licensed personal trainer while you're in prison that you can actually bring with you back to the free world that you can actually use as a career, correct?
Oh yes, all kind of things you can do. There were guys in there getting AA degrees, bachelor's degrees. I don't think they let you get higher than a bachelor inside, but I know that they let you get at least up to the bachelor's degree. And there were guys taking correspondence courses, guys learning languages. I mean, guys getting their culinary arts degree through the kitchen. People are getting all type of stuff. So it's just really up to you. It's up to the individual to want to make a change and want to do it.
What type of people were you spending prior to you making these mental changes that you no longer wanted to live a mindful life in prison? What type of people were you surrounding yourself with prior to making these positive choices? When you said you were making wine and using marijuana throughout the prison system, what type of people were you spending time with?
Well, that's the people that I was spending time with. Everybody who was into those type of things. Like the old saying, birds of a feather flock together. So I felt more comfortable in that comfort zone with the same type of people who were into the compatible things that I was into. And as I started working out more, I started hanging out more with a crew that was exercising more, eating healthier, and spending more time in the recreation department and trying to get away from those things. Because also, you know, if you don't know this, when you get a dirty urinalysis, they put you on something called the hot list. So I was under the hot list for 2 years, 24 months, which means they give me a urinalysis test every month for 24 months. So at first I tried to beat it. You know, I'd still smoke just a little here and there and try to drink a lot of water and flush my system. But I just got tired of that mess and trying to beat the system. And I said, you know, I'm in jail. How does that work? You know, like if I can't focus in here, then when I get out, I'm not going to be able to neither. So I just wanted to apply myself more towards things that would benefit me, even though I knew I still had a little time left. I know I said to myself, I'm going to get in the best shape I've been in ever. I'm going to get more certifications and really learn it. I took a liking to learning about the body and understanding it. And the more I learned about it, the more I wanted to learn about it. And then it moved me to other things. I always wanted to increase my Spanish because my she's Hispanic. So I knew some words, but I couldn't completely understand conversational Spanish. I couldn't hold a proper conversation. So I moved into languages. But you can learn anything you want to learn in there. There's plenty of time to read. You just have to have the effort to do it.
So where was the drugs that were coming into the system? Where were they coming from?
Oh, they come in all type of ways. So many different ways they come in. So people are going to get things in. They'll never stop that. And whatever means they bring them in, that's on them. That's the way they bring them in, you know, but it's always going to happen. If you want it, you can get it.
But talk about some of the biggest ways that you saw it. How did you typically see stuff coming in?
I mean, you got mules who bring things in through the visiting room. There are officers who bring things in, things like that. When I first got to Coleman in the early 2000s, the visitation room, it was a joke. You know, people were outside doing all type of things with their females, and there was no cameras out there. And I mean, the whole compound was flooded with anything you wanted. And then some of the wardens changed. After a few years went by, we went through a few different wardens, and things just got tighter and tighter. But they still were finding ways to manage to bring things in, and they got everything you want in there. Guys getting cell phones, drugs, any kind of thing.
So pretty much everything that they wanted to come in there was coming in.
Yeah, they'll always find a way to get it. If it's not through visitation, they'll get a guard or something to make it happen. You see it in the paper all the time. Guards getting caught up in scandals, bringing things in. But
so when you decided to make these positive changes, how hard was it to cut these people that were doing these type of decisions out of your life in order to do the right thing? And what type of people did you start surrounding yourself with? What type of change was involved? How hard was it?
Actually, what did it for me was I just decided to spend more time on the yard exercising, because if I stayed in the dorm more, then I'd be bored and I'd resort to more of those things. So I started going to the yard and just investing myself in exercise. I'd go do my cardio early in the morning, come back, take a shower, eat my oatmeal, study a little bit, get ready for lunch, go to lunch. After lunch, I go back to the yard. I started teaching the class. Then I started personal training people on the yard. Then I'd go back in for dinner, eat something, go for count time, go to dinner, then go back on the yard and do another episode of cardio. And I was just investing my time on the yard. I didn't have a lot of downtime, so I didn't have a lot of time for those things. And I figured if I kept myself busy, that would be the easiest way to do it. And I just slowly got away from the people, not as a direct choice to just, I'm not going to hang with this person anymore. Their interest didn't surround my interests anymore. So I just slowly branched off from people and started doing my own thing, got involved with other people because that was where my interest was focused.
Now, when you went into prison, how many languages could you speak?
English. And a couple Spanish words.
And how many languages can you speak now, more or less?
I can get around in quite a few. I can get around in Spanish real good. I can get around in French. German, I can hold conversational German. I'm okay. That's probably a little less than the other two. I understand a little Creole, knowing the French. I can communicate with people in Portuguese because I've studied a little bit of it, and it's very similar to Spanish. But mostly, I also studied Thai for a little while, but I haven't used it in a while, so I know I'm forgetting some of it. But I dibbled and dabbled in a few languages. But definitely I can say that I can speak fluent English, Spanish, and French. And some of the other languages just maybe a little conversation or to get around.
So, it's pretty impressive, the fact that you decided to use your time in prison to expand not just your own English vocabulary, but now you're learning different languages. You became a certified trainer, and isn't that what you'd actually, for your main source of income to this day, isn't that what you do for a living? You're a personal trainer now?
Yeah, I do in-home personal training. Ever since I've been out, I've been doing it. I was at a gym for a little while. I was doing some classes here, even in my own house. I have a full obstacle course in the backyard, and my garage is converted into a full gym. But recently, I've been training a lot of people in an area around here called the Villages, which is an elderly community. A lot of elderly people live there, retired. And I do in-home personal training Monday through Friday over there. And whenever I'm off and on the weekends, I have my vending business. So
let's talk about the vending business a little bit, because as your shirt says, Chrome Vending.
Yeah.
So you decided to not only start a vending machine business, but you decided to document this journey through YouTube, correct?
Yeah.
Let's give people a little taste of what that's
like.
Well
I could do. I wanted to see how well I could do with it. I started just buying one machine in a thrift shop a few years back when I got out, and just decided I'd put it somewhere, see if it'd make me some quarters or what it would do. Didn't think too much about it. And I wanted to document it. So I put that, but I really didn't get the documenting until later on. I put it in a few little places I was working. I was working 4 jobs at one point where I would work. I'd get up in the morning, I'd go to a car wash and wash cars from about 7 to about 2 or 3. Then I'd go to the gym about 3:30 and train people to the evening, Monday through Friday. Then I worked security at a couple nightclubs, on Friday and Saturday night. And then Sunday, I go to the flea market and work with a buddy of mine's mom. She have this little, there's like a Mexican food stand where she sells a lot of Mexican food. So I was working every day of the week, and I would take it around to the club, to the flea market, different places. Never really did much with it, but it ended up sitting in the porch for a while, for about maybe 8 months, and then I cleaned it up, put it back out, and just left it in one place for 30 days. And it made me $30 after 30 days in quarters. So I said, okay, that's cool. I wonder if I could put another one up. So I started looking online to try to buy a few more. Meanwhile, another month went by. I went back. It was $30 more in there. I said, okay, well, it's consistent. If I have 10 machines out that are on average of $30, that'd be $300 a month extra. If I could put out 100 machines and still maintain the $30 average, that'd be $3,000 a month on top of whatever I'm doing. And I figured, okay, it's not much work. Maybe I just go check them out once a month or once every 2 months and make my collection, fill them with candy, and then continue doing whatever job I'm doing as my active income.
So your initial thought process on this was to create a passive income, in addition to what you were already doing to slowly start replacing your current income until this became potentially a full-time job. Now, before you answer that question, being you were locked up for 17 years from a young age, pretty much in the internet boom when everything really exploded on the internet, YouTube, Facebook, social media in general, when you were released from prison, which you were just recently released not too long ago, you got out basically right before me, how much did you know about internet, YouTube, Facebook? How computer savvy were you when you got released from prison?
I didn't know anything about it.
So what in the hell made you decide to start a YouTube channel, and how did that even start?
I'll tell you how it happened. When I first got to the halfway house, you can have only something that's called like a track phone. It doesn't have any computer on it. You can't send photos, video, take photos, video, no camera on any of that. It's just a little phone. You put money on it, you put minutes on it, and you can text people and you can call. So I went and got my stepdad, actually, he had given me $100 when I got out, which was cool. And I'm stuck at the halfway house. I couldn't go anywhere. You have to get a pass and sign out to go wherever you're going. You have to call when you get there and then call when you're leaving, when you're coming back. You have only a certain amount of time. It's kind of a pain in the butt. But then they search you when you come in. But I ended up going to the dollar store and I got a phone because I knew that I needed some form of internet because I wanted to get in touch with all the gyms in Ocala to see if I can get a job as a trainer in any of the gyms. So I went and got an illegal phone, and I put not an illegal phone.
What's an illegal phone? What's that mean?
Against the rules phone at the halfway house.
So at the halfway house, you're not allowed to have a smartphone that has a camera or internet connectivity, correct?
Yeah, so they call them illegal phones there. It's not illegal against the law. It's just against the rules at the facility.
You got to remember, you're talking to people that haven't gone through this yet. So yeah. That's why this video is extremely important. So you ended up with a YouTube channel, and that's kind of how I ended up finding you. One day, something on Facebook popped up, and actually, I'm going to show a little bit of your YouTube channel. So let me show some folks that real quick. Hold on one second.
All right.
All right. So this is Mike's YouTube channel here, and definitely, CJ, if you could post a link in the chat. If you could post, you posted his YouTube channel in there. Yep. You guys should see it in there. I'll have CJ post it again in a few minutes so you can see it. So this is Mike's YouTube channel, guys. He's got quite a few videos. He's got over 300 subscribers already. So if you haven't already done so, definitely click on the link that CJ just posted in the live chat, where you guys can head over to Chrome Vending. And he talks about everything on here. Let's do a little sort here by most popular video. This guy's got, how to get into a soda machine. These are the machines that he's bought that he had to either get into, he had to fix them. He buys them, he refurbishes them, and then he goes out and places them places. And he's making, not only is he generating a passive income, but he's creating a business out of this, and at the same time, he's building a YouTube brand. Because there's people out there right now that are probably wondering, how the hell do you start a YouTube channel? And they're not sure. Let's click on one of these videos here, and just to give you just an idea.
What's going on, everybody? I'm Mike G with Chrome Vending, and today is Friday the 13th. Perfect, because I'm killing this business like Jason. So, I'm getting ready to install a key and a lock on a snack machine. I'm just going to show you how simple it is to put it in.
And I'm going to make it as nothing. I don't take it for granted. I don't take it for nothing. I take it for what it's worth. To the dirt, homeboy, yeah. Baby, you gotta know that I'm just out here doing what I gotta do for me and you and we did.
I have my snack machine sitting out here. It's covered up with a tarp just to keep it out of the...
So as you guys can see, that was just a little clip. And if you want to see more of Mike and Chrome Vending, all you need to do is go check out his YouTube channel. I'll tell you what, from the first video you did, Mike, to where your videos are now, you've definitely found a way to make them more entertaining. You're throwing in there some clips. You're starting to put the music on there. I can see you're taking it serious. I get random late night text messages from Mike going, hey, I'm getting ready to go look at this camera. What do you think about it? So he is starting to take the YouTube side of things serious, and not just because he wants to make $1 million on YouTube, but he's realizing that people out there that are going to go through this type of a situation where they may want to learn a new business. A lot of you that are going to be getting released from prison. The reason why I wanted to have Mike come on today is not just to talk about his YouTube channel, even though we do want to promote that for him, because I think it's an amazing concept on what he's doing. But more importantly, somebody that is down for 17 years is decided to not allow. Oh, look, he's back on. His thing came back up on Skype without me doing that, so that's great. So let's minimize that. Very cool. Okay, so he was able to take his journey from prison and not allow it to define who he is or who he's going to be. And he's doing several things. He's a personal trainer. He's got a vending machine business, and that's not all. Mel, aren't you working on a few other things as well at the time?
Yeah, I got a few little things going, man.
What else do you got going on?
Well, I actually wrote a book called Get Fit Anywhere. So as soon as I get my vending channel to the point where I feel like I can monetize it and it's set and going, then I'll start concentrating a little more of my efforts into my exercise channel, because I want to get that going a little more as well, because I have a lot of knowledge in that area. So I really want to share that with people, but I can't neglect what I have going right now until I get it to the point that it's stable.
And when Mike says he's got a Get Fit Anywhere book, I'm telling you what, first time I ever saw this guy, I was doing a light jog on the track. A light jog. I wasn't sprinting. I had a light jog going. And here comes this giant walking. Speed walking is not even like, when I think of speed walking, I think of the mall. I think of old people speed walking in the mall. When I say speed walking, it's like it almost looked supernatural. It was like some kind of an animal walking by you real fast. And say, how is that even possible? This guy just used to do this crazy speed walk around the track just for hours, just go. And he had calves that were like the size of, like, just little balls. And it was very impressive to see the kind of dedication and how determined he was. He didn't talk to anybody. He just did his own thing. And I do realize probably some of the not talking to anybody, I imagine, walking the track, because I know, at least for me, the closer I got to releasing, walking the track, you're not thinking about anything else except, like, what's the free world going to be like? And I can only imagine, after 17 years, you must have had some crazy thoughts going through your mind when you were walking that track. So pretty much people let you do your thing. But I've seen some of your fitness videos. I meant to have some prepared for this video today, but for some reason they didn't click over. But the guy's got some amazing techniques, and I think the book is really going to have a well drawn out roadmap to what people can do to improve their exercise. But Mike, what would you tell somebody right now that's getting ready to go into the federal prison system that may be looking at 24 months, 36 months, 60 months, somewhere in that time frame for like a first-time offender, white-collar criminal, non-violent offender that's not going to be going to a high-security prison, that is terrified right now of leaving their family? They don't know what to expect. What is some advice that you wish somebody had given you as you were getting ready to head off to a 17-year prison bid?
Well, someone going to a low facility really doesn't have anything to worry about. Now, going to a higher security prison, obviously there are things you got to worry about, especially with your PSI and things to do with your case. But if you're going to a low facility, it's different from where I was going with my time. But someone who's going in with not that much time, just go with the flow. Try to learn something, read, do whatever you can to improve yourself. Use that time to get your body in shape, eat better, eat healthy. You'll be able to eat better in there because they give you 3 good meals a day. Sometimes when you're out here and you're running around, you're eating fast food, you're not eating properly. Take advantage of the time to do something productive and positive. There's some good people in there that you can meet. I've met a lot of good people through the years. I've met a lot of people that aren't worth anything also. But just go in there and try to figure out ways to improve. And if you can fight your case and you have issues, go to the law library and see if you can get some of that time off. Don't get in any trouble. Get the good time, because that really helps. If you can get I wasn't able to go to the drug program or anything like that, but I know you did that, right, Dan? You went to the drug program. You got some time off. How much time they give you off for that?
1 year.
The 1 year, okay. Plus, they gave you a full year halfway house for that?
11 months.
Okay, but you got half a month more than I did. So, and I did 17 years.
Yeah. My 13 months was pretty tough.
Really,
I'm not gonna lie, man. I had a tough 13
it's positive,
months.
Though. It's positive though, for you to, if you can go and do that program and you can get the time off they give you for it, you can get the time in the halfway house. I would say definitely try to get everything you can to get out of there, man.
So how long have you been out now?
I got out November 4th, 2014. I went to the halfway house, and I was released from the halfway house September 15th, 2015.
So September 2015 is when you were like kind of out on your own minus probation. That's really when you started getting back into the free world. So from 2015, almost not even 3 years later, you've got a successful personal training business where you have a ton of one-on-one clients which is paying your bills. You own your house, correct? Or are you renting the house?
I bought it in foreclosure.
So
I bought it in foreclosure, and I renovated the whole thing myself. So, yeah, I just really have like the property taxes on it at the end of the year, which is a blessing that I don't have to pay a mortgage every month. So,
but I think that's something that people need to take away from this is, here's somebody that did 17 years, and within 3 years of being out of prison, he owns a home. He has 2 successful businesses. He's got a YouTube channel that he's also starting. And this didn't happen by chance. Mike didn't get lucky. He didn't have some rich uncle that threw a bunch of money and said, go do what you want to do. Mike turned his young youth hustle from running a life of crime, drugs, and guns, and he took that same mentality and applied what he learned from that lifestyle, and he applied the benefits of what he learned from that and is now applying it to the real world. I don't think your hustle has ever slowed down. I don't think you stopped hustling. I think you just chose to change what the hustle was and what you decide to push.
Exactly.
And that's what people have to be able to do. A lot of you that are watching this video right now, you're not going away for a lifetime. You're going away for 3, 4, 5, 6 years. A lot of you have family waiting for you. A lot of you are coming back to careers. But the mental roadblock that you put yourself up against, thinking that you're not going to be able to do anything as a convicted felon, that your family's going to leave you, your wife's going to leave you. You're putting all of these negative dwelling thoughts without any actual why you're thinking this other than being sappy, sad for yourself. When you look at somebody like Mike and you see all the other guests that we've had on this show, these are people that very easily could have became a victim. They very easily could have played the blame game. There's no question in my mind that statistically Mike should be back in prison. If you were just to go off of pure stats, he should have already fucked up, went back to doing what he was doing, and just went back to a criminal lifestyle, because that's what the stats say you're supposed to do. So if you're going to listen to the stats and you're going to allow numbers and past projects that have happened to other people determine what you're going to do, then yeah, you're probably going to fail. But if you sit here and believe in yourself, because I think I've heard Mike say it before, that no one's going to believe in him more than he is himself. So if you're not putting in this effort and you're not believing in yourself more than anybody else is, then you can pretty much count on nothing good happening in your life. That's why we wanted Mike to come on today to kind of share this success on how he has overcame every obstacle known to man that is getting out of prison. He's educated. He speaks multiple languages. The guy is no dummy, and he's real. He doesn't pretend to be something that he's not, and that's what's really impressive about you, Mike.
Thank you, buddy.
What's something you want to leave people with that really changed your life? Like, what was it that really clicked in your mind? What was it that you needed to happen to really see the big picture and focus on consequences?
I don't know. I guess I have a lot of good role models. Like, I look up to people who have already been successful. I look at people like
who?
Like Oprah Winfrey, Michael Jordan, Arnold Schwarzenegger, like people who come from nothing and just are so dedicated. Steve Jobs, just people that become super successful. Look at Nelson Mandela. I read a lot of biographies and when I was inside, And I continue to this. I don't have as much time to read, but I watch a lot of like documentaries on YouTube, and I continue to try to learn something every day. And I don't know, I'm infatuated with people who have become super successful. How can one person become super successful and just like have it, and then the next person have the same abilities and just can't get anything right? Like, what separates the two people? So I believe it's just a mental focus to want to do something. The people who make the little increments every single day. I don't believe it's the person who's the most talented or the smartest that becomes the most successful. I believe it's the people who procrastinate the least. Someone who achieves small victories every single day. It's the saying, by the yard it's hard, but inch by inch, anything's a cinch. So if you just do a little bit every single day to work towards your goal, like I haven't been doing it a long time, but I didn't create what I have already with my vending business in one day. It took going out every day. It took going in there, putting a little effort, scrubbing the machine, cleaning the machine, looking online, finding another deal for machines, going out, talking to this business, talking to that business, going to replace it, look for another deal, fix another machine, going to put it out. But as long as I do something every day towards it, after I get out from training my people, if I can go out there and spend 30 minutes to an hour, then I can move forward in my business. And it's always going to be days you don't feel like doing anything, but at least spend 30 minutes to an hour working on something that's going to get you ahead, just like on your body. You know, people pay all this money for medical bills. If you would just spend 30 minutes a day, an hour a day, and do some exercise, you know, spend 30 minutes, an hour to learn something, work your brain too, and make a little better choices of food that's going in your body. It's all the same. It all falls back to having a little discipline. So if you can be disciplined, then that's what I would tell people. Try to be more disciplined in things that you want to achieve, and your goals will come in front of you. And set realistic goals.
Well, I think that's great advice for anybody that's getting ready to go in the system, into the system. And I heard you mention a lot of big names there for mentors. I'm imagining while you're in prison, there must have been some motivational inmates that you came across that also mentored you once you decided you kind of wanted to change your thinking. Are there still guys that you left behind in there that are still there that helped you get through your time successfully?
Well, most of the ones that I was looking up to when I first went in, most of them beat me out. But there were some guys that came in later on that I met and still had a grip of time to do. And I left a few guys there with elbows, with life sentences. And, you know, my heart goes out to those guys. But definitely, like you say, there were guys in there who also motivated me. There was a kid named Adam. He was kind of an eccentric fella. But he was learning, he learned to speak Russian, and he learned to speak Arabic. And this guy only knew English. He was just a white guy and didn't know anything about any of these languages. But he just decided to start learning them and studying them. And he'd come up and I say, "How's it going, man? Teach me a word in Russian." And he was always studying. So he was one of the biggest motivators that encouraged me to learn a language. I said, if this guy can do it, why can't I do it? You know, I see other guys out on the yard working out, start as a fat boy and end up with a six-pack. I'm like, wow, this guy was in worse shape than me beginning. And look at him now. If he can do it, I can do it. So it encouraged me to go out there. I see some guys that I thought weren't that intelligent and end up with like 3 or 4 personal trainer's licenses. I said, well, this guy's not as smart as me. I don't feel anyway. And he's got 3 or 4 certificates. Why can't I get one? Like, a lot of time people encourage me when I would see them doing positive things, but that's just something I had in me anyway.
Well, I think that's an important fact to take away from all of this is you never know who you're going to learn something from. And when you think you have all the answers and you think you got it figured out, that's usually when you start realizing you don't. And that's what ends up leading a lot of us into the prison system is in our free world, whatever it is we're doing that we're not supposed to be doing, whether it's flat out crime, whether it's thinking you're going to cheat on your taxes, embezzling a little bit of money, whatever it is, from white collar all the way down to high end, gun running and drug running, there comes a point where we think we're no longer going to get caught because we've gotten away with it once or twice. Just like Mike just said, there was people in there that he didn't really give a lot of credit to initially. Then he all of a sudden started seeing them make these accomplishments, realizing that, hey, maybe there is something that I can learn from almost anybody if you're willing to open up your mind and really sink in, do what you got to do. Just don't give up. I think that is a great example of what Mike has proven to show us as success. So Mike, I want to thank you for coming on today, and I apologize to everybody watching right now. This was one of our choppier videos with the Skype popping in and out, and nothing I can do about it. Tried to do what I could to make up for it, so I apologize for that. Don't forget to go over to Mike's channel, subscribe to Chrome Vending. He's got it's not just entertaining and educational, it's also funny. He's got it. He's made it. He's spiced it up to a whole nother level, and I can only imagine over the next few months it's just going to keep getting better and better with better ideas, better equipment. So Mike, kudos to all of your success.
Thank you, man.
We're gonna have to do this again when Mike blows past RDAP Dan. When Mike has more subscribers than me, which we know is coming. We know it's coming. Mike's channel is just gonna blow up. You better have me on your channel, Mike.
Yeah, definitely, man. Hey, I want to give a shout out real quick. Nick is watching, and Nick said to give him a shout out on here. Remember Nick?
Oh, hey Nick. I won the bet, Nick. I won the bet. Nick is a guy that I met in Coleman, and we went into RDAP at this. Huh?
It's my old workout partner. He went from chubby to fit, from flab to ab.
He did. We're gonna have to get Nick on when he gets out of the halfway house. Me and Nick entered RDAP at the same time, and we both had our odds against us. There was a lot of people that were telling us we weren't going to make it through, and not only were they saying we weren't going to make it through, they were taking bets on who was going to get either recycled or kicked out first. And Nick didn't get kicked out; he made it through RDAP, but he did get recycled at the last minute, and that's not something you ever want to watch somebody go through. It's like watching. It's like watching an animal just get devoured because there's nothing you can do about it, and it flattens all the air out of you. And Nick got recycled like literally with weeks to go to graduation, and they recycled him in RDAP, set him back a few months, and it was painful to watch. Took him a couple days to rebound, but man, he was back in it. He was smiling. He was doing what he had to do. So I'm glad you made it through, Nick. And I saw your video that you did with Chrome on that little workout video you did. And I said, man, Nick must have a twin brother because this guy looks like Nick, but about 100 pounds lighter. And I had to ask Chrome. I was like, was that Nick? He says, yes, that was Nick. So we'll have Nick on the show eventually once Nick gets out of the halfway house and he's allowed to do these things. But congratulations on your coming home, Nick. And Mike, thank you for joining us.
I got to give one more shout out to my homie B. He's like, only Nick gets a shout out. When Nick asked me for a shout out, so I want to give a shout out to all my buddies that was in there with me. You know, all of them watching. Well, I don't have time to give everybody a shout out name for name, but he was another workout partner of mine. He used to work out with me and Nick over at the medium. He came over to the low also, and he's out. He just had a baby, so he's doing good as well.
Everybody that's home right now, everybody that's made it out of the federal prison system and that is planning to stay out, it's a shout out to everybody out there right now, because I don't care if you did a little bit of time or you did a lot of time. It's what you did with your time while you were in. I was a short timer. I can't sit here and say I did all the time in the world, but I'll tell you, I packed a lot of knowledge and a lot of education and a lot of exercise into a 13-month sentence that some guys have been down for years and they still haven't gotten that bigger picture yet, and they're still going to recycle back through those doors. So it's not about the amount of time you put into it, it's about what you take out of it so you don't go back. I can't wait to have you back on, Chrome. Any final words that you'd like to say to people as we head out of here for the weekend?
I just want to say, you know, my heart goes out to those people who's going in, because that's not a really good experience, but you know, it made me what I am, so I got a lot from it. And you know, just I wish you all well going in, and I hope that you learn something and use your time positively and wisely. And when you get out, you know, hope that you make great decisions when you get out, because, you know, everybody ain't nothing but one bad mistake away from going in. So just try to make good decisions. That's it.
That's a great video title. One bad mistake away from going to prison. We're going to have to use that. I'll give you credit for it when we use it. All right, Mike. I appreciate it, my man. Thank you again. Thank you for all that have been watching. Don't forget, subscribe, share. All you got to do is tap the like button. How many likes do we got, CJ?
We got 13 likes and 13 watchers.
13 likes, 13 watchers. We had more watchers, so if you haven't liked this video yet, give it a thumbs up. Leave us a comment on the comment section of this when the video is over. Go give Mike's channel a new subscriber. I know we checked your channel before we went live. You had 340 subscribers when we went live, Mike. So I'm expecting Mike to be over 350 by this time tomorrow at least. We'd like to see 10 or 15 of you jump over to Mike's channel. There's a description in the link of this video. CJ has posted all kinds of links to Mike's channel on the live chat wheel as well. So please go give Mike some support, help him grow that channel, let him know that people are out there that are inspiring, because he went from underdog to overachiever in like a couple of years. So if he can do it, you can do it as well. All right, guys, I love all of you. I'm RDAP Dan. Every day, people helping people. Community is method. One day at a time. I will see you guys Monday. Peace.